Well, I want to read you something very sad today. A story about a woman who had a kid who tried to steal something from her 18-month-old son's diaper bag at a park. And now she's on a website asking for donations to help with various expenses related to this incident. Now, keep in mind, this is an incident where a 5-year-old, she alleges, tried to steal something from her 18-month-old's diaper bag at a park. Let's read this. This is what she posted on a fundraising site because she's desperate for money. I mean, he tried to steal something from an 18-month-old's diaper bag, which could have been as valuable as a diaper or a bottle. Anyway, she's in desperate need and she needs a lot of money. Believe me, you'll never guess how much she needs. But she says, "Help me protect my family. Hello, my name is Shiloh, and I've been put into a very dire situation. I recently had a kid steal from my 18-month-old son's diaper bag at a park. I called the kid out for what he was, another man who we recently found out has a history with law enforcement, proceeded to record me and follow me to my car. Poor lady. Can you imagine going to the park and a 5-year-old tries to steal something from your 18-month-old's diaper bag, and then the man follows you to your car? It's terrible. Anyway, he followed her to the car. He then posted these videos online, which has caused my family and myself a great deal of turmoil or a great turmoil. My social security number has been leaked. My address and phone number have been given out freely. My family members are being attacked. My eldest child may not be going back to school. Even where I exercised has been exposed." Oh, man, this poor lady, really, I feel so bad for her. You won't believe what happened. But you read that and it's really just shockingly sad, right? Like the worst thing that could happen. Well, here's what really happened. This is very typical of the MAGA verse. The story you hear from them is always somehow very different from the true story. Like, remember, I won the 2020 election story? Very different from the real story, right? Anyway, so this kid who allegedly stole something from her and from her 18-month-old son's diaper bag was a 5-year-old autistic black kid. And when she says here that she called the kid out for what he was, see, I called the kid out for what he was. She's not telling the whole story there because what she called him out for was being the N-word. She called him the N-word. That's what she called him out for. She didn't say that over here, did she? She didn't say that in this message. Didn't mention that. I called out the kid for what he was. I'm a strong woman and I've been victimized. Ah, boy. Okay. So when she says she called the kid out for what he was, she didn't mean she called him out for being a thief. No, she called him the N-word. Now, I've been to parks with kids and I've seen kids walk over and just out of curiosity, they look in your bag. And if you're the nervous type, you may get upset. Or if you're like me, I'm kind of laid back and okay, let them look, no harm. And, but yeah, they'll look in bags and they may reach their hand in and try to pull something out. They're kids, but it doesn't mean they're thieves. And they're just curious and trying to learn what's going on in the world around them, I think. Anyway, here, let me show you the video of the tail end of this incident. Here we go. Yeah. And this is where she was walking out of the park and the guy turned on his camera and videoed the whole thing as he's basically shouting to her, "Hey, did you really call him the N-word?" And she goes on, saying it over and over again, yelling it back at him. And yeah, I did because he is, and that's what he is. So that's what I did. I told the truth. This woman's a really horrible person. No shame at all. Just no shame, no remorse, no courtesy, no kindness, no nothing that's good and decent coming out of this woman at all. Now, with that background, watch this clip and see how the woman acted. It's literally so shameful. Here, take a look.
him the child?
The fuck you talking
Did you
about?
call the child the word?
None of your fucking business.
It is my own business. You call him. Okay, why don't you have the boss to say it right now again?
Fuck you,
Okay. All right, that's what you say.
You don't go digging through people's shit, you dumb fuck.
Nobody dig into your shit.
A little fucking kid just did, you dumbass.
That little kid, you call him.
Yeah.
The little child?
What if he acts like one? He's gonna.
Are you about to hit him? You chase him here?
He took my son's stuff.
So that gives you the right to call the child 5-year-old the N-word.
If that's what he's gonna act.
That's
like.
what you're gonna call him.
That's what he's gonna act like.
You know that's a hate speech, and you can be recorded for that.
I don't give a shit.
Huh.
Fuck off.
Okay, we'll see about that. What the internet has to say about you.
Wow. You just wonder, how did these people grow up? What kind of parents did they have? You know, it's really amazing. But you got to give her credit because she's really turned this around. You're not going to believe this story. So after this, that's when she went on to MAGA Media and posted this sad story that I just showed you of how she was victimized in the park by a 5-year-old kid who she alleges was a thief. But when I watch the video, I see her making a victim out of them. I don't see them doing anything to her. Except, I mean, obviously the man's upset, but I would be too if somebody had just come in and talked to me that way in the park. I mean, I have to say, this really is one of the most despicable stories I've seen in a really long time. And it really angers me because it comes out of conservatism, of which I was a part for most of my life up until about 2017. But worse than that, it comes in the name of Christianity. In fact, this woman, Shiloh, dares to use the word of God in her fraudulent plea for help. When you go to the donate page that she's set up, she quotes from a verse in Deuteronomy. Here, take a look. All right, here it is. It's in Deuteronomy on her donate page where you can put in the amount you want to donate. Donate to help me protect my family. By the way, you know, sorry, just back to what she said in her original page asking for money. She said her social security number had been stolen. Did it look like in that video that that man could have stolen her social security number? How did her social security number get stolen in this incident? Is that what the 5-year-old stole? No, wait, would she keep that in a diaper bag? No, in a wallet. She put that in a wallet, I'm sure. But so I have no idea. When I watch the video, I can't see any connection between that and her social security number getting stolen. How is that possible? And her home address and her phone number and where she works out. The guy didn't know any of that. He didn't talk to her about any of that. He didn't have her wallet. It's just crazy. So the whole thing's fraudulent, and she dares to use a Bible verse. She says from Deuteronomy 16:17, she says, every man shall give as he is able, according to the blessing of the Lord your God, which he has given you. Please choose donation type. Monthly. Yeah, I'll donate monthly. Okay. Anyway. So she's using the Bible to raise this fraudulent money as if she's a victim, an innocent victim. It's basically committing an evil act and doing it in the name of God. But there's nothing about what these people do and what they are doing that's Christian. Yet people who aren't Christians, and even people who are, they'll look at this and they'll say, well, if that's what Christianity is all about, I don't want anything to do with it. And it's totally understandable to me. But what I want to tell you is that, first of all, this is not what Christianity is about at all. These people, starting with this woman that we just saw, and others who I'm going to talk about in a minute, they're spiritual imposters and they're frauds. They're not Christians at all. And anyone who understands that, understands what I've shown is wrong. If you understand what I just showed you is wrong, what that woman did to that poor child and that man, then you're thinking like a Christian. So it would be ironic that while you're thinking like a Christian, you end up concluding that you want nothing to do with Christianity. That doesn't make sense. Think about it. A lot of people, they grow up Christian, they're in the church and everything. They see stuff like this, like, I don't want to be a Christian anymore. But it's the Christian within you that lets you know this is wrong. Okay? So don't let the Christianity within you turn you away from Christianity because you got it right already. Anyway, it's because so many people in the MAGAverse, though, claim to do the things they do in the name of Christ that I, as a Christian myself, feel I have to speak out. I can't be quiet any longer. And we all should speak out because they're doing this in the name of the Lord we follow. And it's not right. It's all wrong. And they're misleading people. And they're giving people a false impression of Christ, a very false impression of Christ. Now, if you bring this story up to any of your Christian MAGA friends, they will surely, I think in most cases, tell you that they don't support anything like what this woman did. And I believe that for most of them, that's probably true. They don't. I know a lot of people who voted for Trump. They think they support most everything he does, but if you talk to them a lot about it, they're like, well, I don't really know about that. I don't pay that much attention to it. But and they're not racist. I've grown up around a lot of these people, and I don't think most of them have a racist bone in their body. Most of the ones I grew up around. I see now that there are a lot of people that I didn't know anything about personally that are associated with this movement, and they are very, very racist, definitely, overtly so. Not just subtle or subconsciously racist, they are overtly racist. Anyway, but when you talk to friends who are MAGA or, Trump supporters about this, and maybe you'll share the story with them, and they will say, well, that's not me. I don't know anybody like that. And, it's probably true. But what they need to know is that the heart and soul of the MAGA movement is this. It is this. This is where the leaders of the movement are coming from. And it's what they're trying to lead us all to. And this is where a very large portion of the people in the MAGA movement are. Here, take a look at this. She posted her plea for money on a site called GiveSendGo. See? That's her the top part of the page of her plea bargain. She's making a bargain to get rich off of this plea, so to speak. Anyway, she posted her plea for money on this site, GiveSendGo. This site was founded by Andrew Torba, who's the founder of Gab.com, which is one of the most prominent social networks in the MAGAverse. And he is a super huge MAGA fan. He supports every wacko, lunatic QAnon theory out there, just like most of them do. But anyway, so she first posts this plea on this Uber MAGA site, and within days it has raised so far, get this, $750,000. She's raised 700, just as I started the recording, I checked, $755,000 at this point. And maybe when you check in a couple of days, it'll be more because it went up a lot today. I think it started around 650,000 today. Anyway, she's become an instant celebrity and she's becoming an instant millionaire. She's not quite to a million on this, but she's becoming such a big celebrity because of this. She's going to make a ton after this with appearances and, everything like that. So yes, there is a very large segment of the MAGAverse that is like that, and we all have to recognize it. Oh yeah, here's her goal: $756,000 at the last, right before I started this recording. So $756,000, and look at this: 28, nearly 29,000, nearly 30,000 people have donated to this racist, this MAGA racist. And these are MAGA people that are doing these donations, and they're donating not because they see that she was victimized in a serious way, but because they want to cheer her on for the way she talked to that man and his poor child. They want to cheer her on. They want to say, we support you. Go, girl. We love what you did. It's honestly, I was never around people like this in person. So it's pretty shocking for me to see this and to realize that these people are associated with a movement that I was associated with for most of my life. Anyway, a large segment of the MAGAverse is like this, and we all have to recognize that. This is literally This is literally the heart and soul of the movement. Now, the people on the more fringe on the outside they get of the movement may not be like this. They may be more mainstream, but this is the heart and soul of the movement. This is the core of the movement. And, you would think this is the fringe element. No, the fringe element are the people who are more sane, who are more normal. The core of this movement is this racist stuff, this racist, wacky, upside down world stuff. Look, this isn't the only example. I mean, Trump allowed someone on stage at his Madison Square Garden campaign rally in New York last summer who said that Puerto Ricans are trash. Puerto Ricans are trash. It was said from the stage, and the audience, the huge audience at Madison Square Garden that was in attendance, they laughed and applauded, and the president never apologized for it, and no one's ever apologized for it. You know, a large portion of the MAGA movement is in on this. It's just not the kooky fringe. This is the MAGA movement from, from start to finish. And it's because these people act in the name of Christ, though, and claim his name and quote Bible verses from his Bible. It's because they are imposters who use Christianity for evil that true Christians, we really have to stand up now and speak out and say, no, that's wrong. That's not Christian. Because if we don't do that, and if we don't make our voices heard, what will the world be left to think about Christians and Christianity and Christ? They'll think these people are the true representatives of Christ. They'll never hear another Christian voice speaking out against it unless we do it. So yes, they need to hear from us. They need to hear Christians say, we denounce this, and I denounce this. But remember, they don't need to hear us like we hear them. We hear them all angry and seething with hate as this woman was. You know what? Honestly, when I watched her, she was so full of hate and so full of anger, it literally made me want to fall down to my knees and pray to God for her soul. Pray to God that he would open her eyes to his truth and to his love and to his true grace that she thinks she has, but she doesn't have it. She doesn't. She just doesn't. And, these people, they need to hear from us, and people on the outside looking in thinking, wow, Christianity is terrible. They need to hear from us, but they all need to hear from us speaking in truth from hearts filled with love, from hearts filled with compassion for them, for understanding that we need to always understand that before we were saved, we were just like them, no better at all. They need the redemption of Christ just like we do, and they need our prayers, and we need to pray for them daily. It's a really bad situation that we've gotten ourselves into in this country, and this group of people, conservatives, acting like conservatism or being a Republican is almost synonymous with being a Christian. That is so far off. It is not at all. It never was, and it's definitely not now. So we got to pray for our country and pray for all these people who need Christ so, so badly. We don't need to be missionaries to some faraway place where we think people are really unfortunate. We got a lot of unfortunate people here. So let's keep them in our prayers and pray for ourselves as a group that we will reach out in a faithful way and be able to talk to some of these people and really persuade them that God would open their eyes and open their hearts to his love and his truth. All right. Hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And I will see you next time.